All right, what's up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, Ballet Brand. Today we got a very awesome stream for you. And Sunday we got HEX price at all-time highs. We've got lots of PulseChain updates that I didn't get the memo of until the last live stream, and just much more. So without further ado, let me just play the intro real quick, and then we'll go from there. 1 second here.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Yeah. Say heck. Heck, yeah. Say heck, heck. Heck, yeah. Say heck. Say heck, yeah. Say heck. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. Ballet Brand.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Ballet Brand. Let's start off with the price first off, the HEX price. So let's go over here. Let's do the share screen. Uniswap.hex.vision. There's a lot to cover today. There's Uniswap version 3 that has come out. There's a lot of HEX price pumpage that's gone on. There's for the most part, the release date of the sacrifice phase that's going to happen for Pulse. Richard had mentioned that it might be within 7 days of his tweet a couple days ago. So we'll take a look at that. There's just so much information, right? It feels like HEX did at the beginning, before the launch, and when the free claim phase was going on, where it's just like, man, I can barely sleep. I'm so excited. So without further ado, we're sharing the screen, and we got myself on there. So just did this a couple seconds ago. We're at 168 bars on the hourly, which is about 7 days. And if we just zoom out a smidge, I mean, we're up nearly 100% from the last time that I streamed a week ago. So 93.4% or 0.04. And HEX has just been going bonkers. So that's really cool. The price itself for PulseChain, the game theory itself is working out, where a lot of people seem to be putting their fresh capital in HEX, and then they might be using that HEX to sacrifice, possibly just as a, sacrifice or a political donation type deal. But then you might also be rewarded at Pulse. Let's see. Okay. Sapper says, let's shout out to the chat real quick. The Sapper says, remember to shout up and out. It's good for your posture. We should work on that, shouldn't we? Identity block. Hey, good to see you. And let's get the camera going a smidge too. Hex Swimmer. Mom's phone is busy. I guess I'll watch this for a while. Awesome. Benny. Hey, good to see you. Whales only. Speaking of whales only, we got a pretty big stream that I should be able to join. Let me share it out real quick here. It's going to be on Maddie's channel. Let's go to right here. Okay, so it's on Maddie Allen's channel. It's going to be in about 3 hours from now, so 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But it's going to be a major update on just HEX, Pulse, the whole 9 yards. And there's going to be a lot of Hexicans on there. I know Wales, Motley, Maddie, the Quant Gang. I think Kareem's going to be there too. And then Gunther, the guy that did the OA audit. So that's going to be awesome. And let me link the stream as well. Okay, cool. So there's the link. It's going to be in about 3 hours and 25 minutes from now. So that's going to be really cool. Let's go back to the HEX price chart. Let's see. Okay, cool. So like I said, Hex has been working very well where a lot of people are putting their fresh capital instead of sacrificing, say, US dollar coin or Ethereum, things like this. They're wanting to possibly sacrifice things like Hex that might be a double whammy for the actual price appreciation of their current Hex bags and then possibly of the Pulse. Okay, let's see. Hexy Mother says, hey, been glued to Staker all day again. Yeah, that's one of the amazing things about Hex and about Staker.app is it's super cool to see a product doing what it's designed to do. So, I mean, Hex, when you have something that's got a supply and demand, I mean, imagine if Bitcoin, back when it was a penny, if it could have paid you an interest to lock it. It's exactly what Hex is doing, except it's a smart contract. So it's audited 3 times. It's designed with no admin keys. It's completely locked. So it doesn't have the vulnerabilities that Bitcoin has had. And it's crazy. As someone that's been here since early 2017, I see a lot of the people that kind of jumped on the FOMO cycle back in 2017 into the altcoin season. And then when the bear market started, they just left. And then now you got a whole bunch of those people, the same people asking me like, how do I buy Dogecoin and things like this? And at the end of the day, you want something that's going to be a long lasting over time, right? It's not just a quick pump and dump type deal or something that's pumping because one person is mentioning it or because they're on SNL, stuff like that. In my opinion, what is the most safe haven of an asset and of a cryptocurrency has been Bitcoin back in the day and has been Hex recently, even with Ethereum $80 to $120. We see a lot of people saying like, oh, I wonder what Hex is going to do in a bear market. And in reality, the market itself consolidates. It consolidates from the altcoins that they're in to things like Bitcoin that might be, less volatile and possibly to things like Hex. So that's going to be awesome. Marcavelli's in the house. He says, Brand the man. Good to see you, Mark. Too Low says, is the sacrifice based on the amount of crypto or the dollar value at the time of sacrifice? We'll get into that in a few minutes. I'm going to go over Richard's Twitter. We might as well do that now. Let's see. Will says Kareem and Gunther will be there. So yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, so many smart minds in one stream and just so much information to cover. I mean, Richard had mentioned in his last few tweets that the sacrifice phase could start within maybe less than a week, maybe 4 to 5 days from now. And so that's really exciting. It's exciting that the test net from last stream has been up and running and successful, and just so much good news all around. So without further ado, let me just share the screen. We'll go over to Twitter, and we'll follow Richard Hart's Twitter channel real quick here. Okay, so let's just start off with the top, right? So Richard Hart is forking Ethereum, Hex.com, 40% APR, 662x in 490 days. Now that is, let me get the comment off the screen. Now that's pretty significant, right? Because that's just the spot price. And so when you factor in the interest that people are earning, and when you factor in that there is an average of people that are using Hex like a CD, that are using it like a bond type deal, they're using it like it should be, and that's why the overall time lock of Hex is going up. It used to be like 3 years, and then it was 4 years, and now it's like 5.5, something like that. So that's really bullish. Before we get into the tweets, Bitfinesse says, I'm going to do my very best not to check Staker app for 6 months. Trying to stay sane out here. Looking today was insane. Haven't checked it in weeks. In 3 weeks. Yeah, Bitfinesse, there's a certain point where you just know that you're already up so much and you're already in the top performing asset of 2020 and most likely of 2021 that, with whatever short-term volatility there might be, that you're still just up a whole bunch. And that's the beautiful thing actually about Hex and about the staking. It's designed to not be staring at the screen all day, because that's what traders do. And, that's generally what people do as a full-time job. And so if you can know that you're earning a solid interest and know that you're in a asset that can appreciate faster than Bitcoin can, then you can kind of just pump the brakes, like you mentioned, off of like refreshing your phone the whole time and looking at the price chart. But I agree. I mean, it is also a dopamine hit when you see your balance going up and down a whole bunch. So, okay, so let's get back into it. So 662x, 490 days. That's awesome. And let's go to tweets and replies. So DJ Cryptomatic, he was streaming. That's awesome. Check him out. He does great music. Let's see. Speaking of which, I know Corey, an investor, he mentioned that he's already done 2 Hex songs that are on his YouTube channel, but he's possibly going to be releasing another one soon too, which is really exciting. I mean, the first 2 were just amazing and really vibing, and not to mention the third one's coming out soon, so that'll be pretty cool. Okay, let's get to the tweet. So, thought experiment: Hex.com keeps doing what it's been doing. Let's see what it was designed to do. I have to update my username to 10,000x. How is the world different? And 100,000x? Remember, Bitcoin did 6.5 million x. So far, Hex is only 3 cents. Well, it's 3.7 cents now. And if we scroll down a smidge, we can see this is just Hex versus a lot of the top altcoins that people are in. You got Litecoin, EOS, BNB, Tezos, XLM, Cardano, the whole 9 yards, right? I don't need to go into all of it, but you can pretty much just see, if we zoom in a smidge, Hex is at the very top, and it's got some, sick and wicked price gain. So that's pretty cool. This guy also mentioned that you left Cardano off the chart, and Richard reposts the same photo, but with Cardano, which is in second place. So Hex is significantly up. And the point is at the end of the day, guys and gals, Richard mentions this, that it's not just about the technology or about Elon Musk pumping Dogecoin and stuff like that. It's about the price going up and to the right. And that's the whole point of a store of value and things like this. Let's see. Richard Hart in the house. That's awesome. Thanks, Richard. Yo, yo, yo. So the point is this, guys and gals, is at the end of the day, if everyone's meme about getting into crypto is just for the gains and just for the value, well, Hex does that, and it does it better than anything else does. But then it also does security better than any other cryptocurrency does as well. Not to mention, people have noticed their gas fees, right, for the end stakes going up. And it used to not be a big deal. It used to be, say, $1, and then it was $5, $10. And now it's like, I've seen some people post their photos. I've seen some end stakes as high as like $300, $700. Like, that's absolutely disgusting. And when Richard talks about cryptocurrency being designed to get rid of middlemen, well, you kind of have some hypocrisy when Vitalik Buterin maybe 4 years ago talks about Ethereum fees being but Bitcoin fees being expensive at 5 cents per transaction, and now Ethereum fees are significantly higher than that. So clearly there's maybe just something that he couldn't fix, or maybe just different things have happened. But it's awesome to see that people like Richard have not only created a immutable smart contract, but he's now forking Ethereum and creating a layer 1 that Hex is going to reside on, with not just Ethereum, but with Pulse too. Let's see, what's up, Hex? Johnny No Good, hey, good to see you. Simon Jones, at Richard Hart, how can I speak to you about an exciting marketing proposal? You can go to his Twitter and you can see, I'm pretty sure his Telegram is there. He he's pretty good about answering his DMs, but obviously he's pretty busy. So, you can find it if you're interested enough. Identity block. I did post a tweet earlier about the PulseChain Telegram. Guys and gals, if you're not there in the audio chats, you really should be. I mean, not only has Hex been popping off, we saw Richard's 8-hour live stream that he had about like 168, if not more, people in that actual audio call at once. And then, okay, we got Richard in the chat. And then now we have the same thing with Pulse, where I was in it today and like it had like 96, 88 people, like a lot of people. So that was really cool to see. So yeah, shout out to Richard. He let's make him a mod real quick. But yeah, he's doing great work, man, and I really appreciate all that you've done. And it's just awesome to see that there's always a solution to the current problem that you might be having. So Wales Only, good to see you, Hexologist. He had a lovely Mother's Day stream this morning at like 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that was awesome. What's up, Hexo? Cool. Let's see. Yeah, the boss is in the office. Exactly. We'll keep it cool. Let's go back to the Twitter. Okay, so really cool to see the price actually pumping, right? There's always people that get anxious and they get bored and they just can't comprehend that they're earning interest every single day when Hex is consolidating and when their crypto is consolidating. And then all it takes is a little bit of price pumpage for everyone to get excited all again. And so it's awesome to see that the price that Richard states, the 662, like I mentioned, that's before the interest. So then you tag on the 40% APR and you tag on the 15-year stakes and stuff like that. And the actual amount of X is significantly higher. Okay, so this is I like that Richard comments on a lot of other people's channels, right? So we got Michael Saylor talking about how much time have you invested in educating yourself? 100 plus hours. And Richard said, I've spent more than that educating others. So yeah, once again, shout out to Richard. He does 8-hour live streams. He pretty much does everything that you could want it to do. And it's awesome. Okay, we got another random line here. Let's see here. So you can see it's pumping up to $540 around 2025 theoretically by the trend that is going on now. And it's really cool for people that are traders. I mean, like I said, Hex is for everyone, whether you're a trader, whether you're a holder, just all of it is really cool. And not to mention with the PulseChain fork, I really like the idea of the honey versus vinegar approach, where as opposed to just going so hard at the other communities, kind of the fork itself is going to be a solution for everyone that's been on Ethereum and that's been on these other chains that have had high gas fees. Okay, so once again, we got Hex has tons of potential. It's only 3 cents. It's not on the front page of any of the largest coin ranking sites yet, or the largest exchanges yet. Yet is the major key factor there, right? Like I said, you want to be buying before the SNL pump or before the SNL dump. You want to be buying when people haven't heard about it yet. That just gives you a upper hand for when people are now just all of a sudden being, wanting to get into Hex and things like that. Let's see, Hex at $1 would make it really easy to price things into. And that's part of the unit bias, really cool. Okay, and then here's another thing that Raul Paul mentions, that they're shifting some of the from Bitcoin asset allocation to Ethereum asset allocation. And Richard mentions it's fun being ahead of the curve. So I really think that that's cool. You can tell that a lot of the money, we heard a lot of these audio chats earlier talking about, in 2017, you had a whole bunch of people and even institutions that were not the biggest fans of crypto, but now you have it where everyone's kind of jumping into crypto at once, and that's awesome. It's really changing. Richard has mentioned that the actual technology itself is not just vaporware per se, but the technology has gotten, significantly better too. All right, let's go back to the chat. Bitfinesse says, all hail the random line. Yep, it's amazing. Let's see. I followed that random line to my first stake that ends. I can't believe what the calculator showed me. I mean, that is the thing, right? Whales Only and Kareem, they talk about this a lot, that it's not just linear, right? It's a function of a square, a log base 2. And when you have HEX, a lot of us that got in early, myself included, David Feeder mentions it on his testimonial that 1 penny was a price target. And now we're at, let's see, 3.6 pennies. And so it's awesome to see that it's just doing everything it was designed to do. And so many people, they're going to be rewarded for doing the delayed gratification. And just think about how many people were in Bitcoin early and sold out. They sold their whole position because they couldn't time lock it and because they weren't incentivized to hold it, right? They just saw 100x, 1000x, 2000x, and then they sold their whole position. And then, years down the road, it went up another 5 millionx, 6 millionx. Like, time definitely rewards those that are more patient and that are able to sacrifice today and delay gratification today for a better future and, more power and wealth in the future. Cool. So we got a lot of people in the chat. If anyone has any questions, I'm definitely willing to entertain, obviously, anything that people are talking about. We got Nozdarov, what a crew here. Hello. Maddie Allen and Freedom TV. They had a stream just yesterday or the day before on HEX Vegas. So Hexican.Vegas, you can find out all the information. It's going to be June 24th through the 27th. And it's definitely not going to be something that you want to miss if you can make it, right? It's going to be history once again. And I tell you what, the first time that Maddie had thrown out the invite for, the first Hexican meetup online, I thought, okay, this is kind of cool. This is awesome to see. And then we actually saw the event itself, and it was just so much better and cooler than I could ever imagine it happening. And so the same thing is going to be with the in-person Vegas meetup. There's a lot of stuff that they covered just the other day, and with the actual pass that we signed up for and the ticket that we signed up for, there's going to be a lot of cool, entries that we get and VIP passes that we get that are definitely well worth the $60 that it was. C4 says, Richard Hart, keep crushing it, bruv. Exactly. I mean, like I said, I've said this in the PulseChain chats before and just the audio chats, but Peter Thiel mentions about Elon Musk that he would never, he's been partners with him for a long time and seen a lot of his, different things that he's done, and he would never bet against him. And same thing with myself and Richard Hart, obviously. And that's why PulseChain is super exciting. We see what Vitalik and Ethereum has been talking about since 2017, 2018 about 2.0 and staking and stuff like this. And it just hasn't come to fruition yet. But I get the feeling, and I think that what's going to happen with what Richard's doing is it's going to take a lot of people that have had anticipation with Ethereum, and they're going to move. Just like we've seen with, Binance and some of these other chains, you've had people that have been waiting for such a long time, and they're just tired of waiting, right? They want to be developing on new chains. So that's going to be really exciting. Not to mention the fees, right? I know so many people that, not only is HEX very gas efficient and doesn't have the bitwise shifting and stuff like this, but there's only so much you can do when the contract is efficient, it's audited, but then Ethereum, the actual layer one, keeps screwing you over by writing to the disk and counting how many days it has to accrue for. And so that's why PulseChain is going to be awesome, because a lot of us remember 1 penny fees, sub penny fees, and PulseChain is going to most likely bring those fees significantly back down to that. Let's see, Marcavelli, Quattrocinco, Fish Oil 369. Let's see, Tony Scott. 1 hex is now on parity to the Thai currency. This is interesting. 1 hex equals 1 Thai. A month's condo rent is 6,000 hex. That's awesome. Let's see, Jazz S says, hex moving up 1.2x every day since launched. That's awesome. I mean, Wales was actually the first person that kind of showed me this and introduced me to this, that I didn't even realize that as far as being in crypto, and that realizing Bitcoin was kind of like dead for like 555 days, however long it was until the first transaction. And it's awesome to see when he overlays Hex on top of the Bitcoin correlation, and you can just see Hex it just seems like it's set up to go up higher so much more than Bitcoin's done already. And we see what Bitcoin has done with the 6 point something million X, and with its inflation bugs that it's been prone to, and a chain rolled back. And so if you have, like I mentioned, people welcoming and warming up to the crypto space that are in traditional finance now, you've got a lot of people that are just willing to go into the better technology. And that's exactly what Hex is. Okay, let's get back to it real quick. Okay, so this is kind of what I was alluding to. So we can see in this photo that Richard posts, 1 T share, $596.12. Absolutely amazing. I know just the other day it was like under 300. And so it's really cool to see, not only do you have the spot price of Hex, but then you've got the price per T share, and the actual amount of Hex that it takes per T share can only ever go up. So there's just so many fundamentals and game theory that have been designed in this cryptocurrency and in the smart contract that just make it, like I mentioned, designed kind of like the De Beers analogy that Richard mentions, and things like that just have a price pumpage mechanism. So he says Hex.com shares have gone 1,000x from 60 cents to $600 per trillion in 490 days. Okay, so that's pretty much it as far as Richard's tweet goes. Let's see. He talks about shorting crypto is death, man. Don't do it. That's very true, and I think that's one thing that Harry Dent didn't recognize when he was talking to Richard, and comes from a traditional finance background, and what Richard had mentioned, I think, is very true, and something for people to actually realize. So much so that I might even play his most recent YouTube video, which we're actually going to do, because he talks about trading. He's always talked about why, you have a Pareto principle, the 80-20. But with trading, it's even like 99.9 to 0.1%. And so many people that I know get into crypto because they hear about pumpage and they hear about hype, and then they end up getting wrecked. So let's play Richard's most recent video. Okay, 1 second here.
Why, hello, everybody. How's it going out there? I discovered just what all you underwater traders need. For those of you that couldn't just get into Hex.com stake, now you'd be up 1,000x, some of you. Price is at all-time highs. It's now up 1,000. Well, it's 650x, and that's in 488 days. Now I'm forking Ethereum. If you guys want to have a say in the future of finance, you really should come to t.me/PulseChain.com and have your ideas heard. I mean, imagine you had the chance to talk to Satoshi before you launched Bitcoin and give him some good ideas. You could have a lasting legacy. Pretty awesome. t.me/PulseChain.com. Hope you like this fancy lifesaver. It can't actually use it for saving lives, I don't think. At least the warning label says you shouldn't, but I don't know. Looks funny, eh? What else? Hit like, hit subscribe. Come to twitter.com/Richard Hart Win. And, we hope to be able to on-ramp people in maybe 5 or 6 days, maybe 6 days. We'll see. T.me/PulseChain come. You missed my first 1000X project. Maybe you shouldn't miss the second one. Eh? See you soon, guys.
Okay, I was on mute for just a second. So that was a really cool video, right? 1 second here. Okay, so Richard talks about the actual sacrifice phase. It might be within less than a week. And that's one of the things that we see, like I mentioned earlier, about the HEX price pumping, is a lot of people, they're taking liquid dollars or liquid fiat and they're getting into HEX. And then most likely they might be sacrificing something like HEX for, a political statement. And that's also going to be something that's really cool. We're unmuted now, Trevor. Thank you. But that's going to be something that's really cool, is the political statement itself, right? So many Hexicans have spent tens of thousands of dollars per day, $25,000 per day on average. And it's going straight to middlemen and to Ethereum miners that are just dumping the price. So how is that good for Hexicans? How is that good for the network? It's not. Okay, let's see. The Sapper says, anyone who can pick up chicks while wearing a big squeaky thing has got to be a genius. Yeah, for anyone that didn't notice, Richard did change the actual the case where he's got all the Swarovski diamonds. He's got the diamond in the middle. He's got the swan, I think, at the top. He's just got some different things going on that you can also see. The watch winder as well, right? There's like a 3-piece watch winder that he has. All of it is really cool. Not to mention the like the Rocky Balboa like custom Louis Vuitton fighter vest and jacket thing that he's got that says Richard Hart. So that's really cool. But like he mentioned, right? So many people, they listen to their favorite influencer and they listen to a lot of the FUD, when in reality, they should have done their own research to realize HEX was actually audited and that it was secure. And they missed out on 1000X and they missed out on 662X. So how many of those people don't want to make the same mistake twice? And like I mentioned, when you listen to the PulseChain.com Telegram chat, it's really cool and it's really awesome to see a lot of people from just different communities, developers and whatnot, that are coming into that chat and contributing, and they're just creating a lot of cool ideas that's going to be really exciting. And I know a lot of people, they're getting prepared for another major launch. I mean, we saw what the adoption amplifier phase did, but that was over 351 days, right? How much could the PulseChain sacrifice? How much dollar value could that accrue? Could it be billions? It definitely could be, is the answer. Despide to Jefe says, what's up, Brand? Good to see you. Max Bonnet says, Tic Tacs. Que pasa, Benny and Johnny? Hey, Trevor, I'm down for this. I'm down. He says, let's all wear one of those life vests at a future HEX meetup. Yeah, that's the cool thing, right? Is Hexicans are just different. There's something about the community that is just so energetic and so lively, right? You look at some of the other communities and there's just sometimes just a lack of morals and ethics, and just some of the people, they're kind of just in there to just dump on the greater fool and stuff like that. But with Hexicans and what people like Richard Hart are doing, they're constantly educating, and it's a shame to see someone that is so informative and constantly educating, get berated by the current influencers. But what that goes to show you is what the current space is like, where a lot of people, they're just feeding off of their followers by getting wrecked and by using their trading links and stuff like that. And what's that go to show you about their morals and their ethics? People like Richard Hart on day one of HEX launch went on Tone Vase's stream with 2 lawyers that were trying to find any slip up. And it's really cool to see that someone like Richard has had a time proven history, right? Hey, Blue Bum, you too, man. It's awesome to see your streams. The cool thing about Hex and about the community is, first it was Hexologist, and then like RG3, and then just a whole bunch of these other streamers. But it's awesome to see that we have an abundance of streamers. We got Hex Asians, Hex Germans, we got Maddie Allen, psychologists and stuff like this, and psychiatrists. We really got everyone for your needs and desires. And it's awesome to see how big the community is getting. The amount of people that we're attracting just seem to be getting smarter and smarter. And it's awesome to see what one person that's doing the right thing can create, right? Can lead by example. And then once he created Hex, just so many people realized, hey, we saw what these other people said and promised to do, and they failed on. And someone like Richard is designing a product from the get-go. Hornet UK1, what is the sacrifice? So the sacrifice is a political statement. It's something that you can't necessarily expect any expectations or profits from the work of others on, but it's pretty much a political statement for a system state of Ethereum, the fork of Ethereum, PulseChain, right? And so you may or may not be rewarded Pulse and stuff like that. And there's also some interesting game theory as well, where like, should people that donated to the Sens Foundation, should they be awarded Pulse and stuff like this? Things like that are just interesting questions, I guess, and interesting game theory things to consider. But pretty much it's just something that's going to be part of the PulseChain fork. JT Chandler says, I'm an old Hexican. Yeah, I mean, I know plenty of old Hexicans, right? Sometimes that's the easiest base to onboard. I mean, a lot of people that are in my generation, they want to jump on the latest Robinhood, like RG3 mentions with his kid, right? Where, his friends want to jump on Robinhood and trade Dogecoin and whatnot. But people like my grandpa gave me savings bonds growing up, and they understand the time value of money, and they understand stuff that is deflationary. And so when you have all of that and just more game theory programmed into a cryptocurrency that's also censorship resistant and locked and stuff like that, you just have the best of both worlds. And it's moving fast. It's really moving fast. I thought 2017 was fast with people onboarding and adopting, but this cycle is definitely moving faster than the last one. Old Man Hex says, I'm an old Hexican too. Yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, it's really cool. The cool thing about Hex is, Richard mentions that, I think he's mentioned this at least, but if the price goes up and say you go to take profit, well, since the price has just pumped a whole bunch, now you don't have to sell as much. So you're not going to cause a huge price impact on the market price. And so the cool thing about that is when we got the Uni airdrop, thanks to Richard for popularizing it, there may or may not have been, multiple wallets that were given to several family members because of the abundance of those airdrops. And, now you look at the value of what they might be, and it's like a 15x from where it was given. And it's really cool that if someone doesn't necessarily get it now, Gary has mentioned this, right? Funding Jim has mentioned that he had people that might not have been interested in learning about Hex at the time when he was telling them about it, but he would just speculate and theorize that, hey, what if you put in $10,000 today and you staked it for 10 years? What would that value be? And then he would show them on a Staker.app wallet what the value would be and what the value interest had accrued. And sometimes people need to see those numbers in the physical form and on an application to realize, holy shit, my dollar, it is going down in value. And when I try to buy things with it, I tend to buy less things with it, and everything seems to be going up. Why is that? Well, because the printer just keeps going burr. But when you have something like programmable money, programmable currency, cryptocurrency, HEX that's locked, then you've got something that's just the best of both worlds. And there's a reason why it's pumped up so much. And this is just the beginning, right? Remember, Doge, just as far as people that might be able to relate that might not be in HEX, things like Doge went from a penny to like 75 cents recently. Things like Bitcoin went from a penny to 60 something $1,000. And so a lot of people, they try and look at numbers and they try and like justify like, oh, the market cap, that would be way too much for HEX to go to $60,000. And they try to, have this logical fallacy in their mind that, oh, it can't happen like it did with Bitcoin. But in reality, this is just the beginning. And a lot of capital and money seems to be shifting from, the old way of doing things to the new way of doing things. Yep. It does go burr. Richard's talked about literal helicopter money. And it's interesting to see, not only is crypto going at a very fast rate, but, just the world and traditional finance is going at a fast rate too. And like I mentioned, things, they always go up you don't realize the inflation until you're, at the grocery store, or until, like Richard mentions, you're buying an asset, like, just many things that you start to realize, oh, this is like 5X from the last cycle. And the cost just gets going to the person that's going to buy it next. Let's see. Despide tu jefe, I want my HEX going burr. That's pretty much what it does. It's pretty much like it incentivizes you to earn an interest. And even if you're not earning an interest and you're holding at spot, 662X in 490 days, like what did better than that? HEX did the top performing asset of 2020. Why can't it do the same thing in 2021? We've already seen where the price has been going. Right now we're at 3.77 pennies. Like he mentions, dollars could be very feasible sooner possibly than later, when you realize in April we saw the Godwill just pump the price with 10,000 ETH and it never went back down. All it takes is the right kind of entity, whale, whatever, to realize that they're going to be earning a hell of an interest, and realize that anything else that they put their money into is just going to get devalued. So why not put your money into, the future global reserve currency that's going to pay you an interest? It's going to be there for a long time. You already have an average of 5.5 years as a lock. That's awesome. The other thing is some people, they want to test, right? They want to see, oh, okay, it might be like a CD. The average is 5.5 years. Let me stake for 30 days. And then they end up just getting pissed off because the cost of fees and gas and Ethereum. Well, that's not necessarily how HEX is designed. When you have the average, the time-weighted average of people doing a 5.5-year lock and stake, well, maybe you should kind of take that into consideration before doing a 1-year stake and then complaining later because you paid X amount in fees. It's just something to think about. If you're, Johnny Chaos mentions this, if you're going to be tempted to sell anytime soon, things like that, you might as well have a position that's liquid, so you're not willing to unstake and screw yourself over. Just keep a percent liquid if you need. Okay, back to the chat. Yondam Hokage says, it would be good if HEX had desktop application. It is better than having a website. I haven't had any problems with go.hex.com. David Sanchez says, maybe slight profits just for fun. I know a lot of people that got wrecked in 2017 because they thought they had $3 million in value and it ended up going to $20,000 and they never did take profit. And now they're, now that's a learning lesson. And now they're not going to make the same mistake twice. Taking profits and playing with the house money and taking your principal back is never a bad thing. I think sometimes you have to retrain yourself positive habits, and that's definitely one of them, possibly. Piston Broke Quattrocinco says, our new Lambos will go burr. That's one thing that RG3 mentioned on his most recent stream, that we've got people like Overwatch, and we've got other people in the community that have been able to prove some of the gains, or just prove some of the lifestyles that they talk about. And you know, a lot of people at the beginning, there's always straw man arguments, right? Oh, this group of 15,000 or 3,000 in X amount of months, those are just bots. And then the Hexican community responds to that and says, all right, we'll show our faces, we'll start streaming. And now you just have this never-ending truth that Hexicans have, on our side and behind us, that these other people, their arguments that don't necessarily hold weight and don't hold value. So we're just doing it on a constant basis, and more people showing up every day. Joshua CPA says, just joined. Can you talk about how long the timeline? It seems how fast crypto is advancing. In 5 years, there could be better cryptos, and no one would want Hex. Thoughts? There's been people that have tried similar mechanisms to Hex and staking and locking and stuff like this. Hex is copyrighted. It's not something that you can just directly copy and not get sued over. There's people that it's just like with Facebook, right? Facebook has been beating the S curve, and it's always it's pretty much had the beginner's mover, the mover's advantage, right? So something like Hex, we've seen, like I mentioned, copycats. I'm not going to mention names, but we've seen their price chart. And if at the end of the day, people want something to go up and to the right, and theirs is going down and to the left, and they're doing these weird things like locking liquidity, you just have something that is standing the test of time. And over 500 something days, it's never had a hacks. I don't know. I mean, it's also the technology itself. Something like Hex is very simple, but it's also very, functional. It does what it's supposed to do. I don't see someone being able to develop something that would compete with Hex anytime soon. Hex just has that first mover's advantage, and it has everything going for it. And that's what I think. Identity Block says, oh, geez, Diamond Hands will become multi-millionaires in Pulse. Yep, that's exactly right. Give me just a second, guys. Let me play a quick video here. Give me just a second.
The successful among us delay gratification. The successful among us bargain with the future. Realizing any of our financial dreams comes at a cost, a sacrifice made short-term to enjoy a prosperous tomorrow. The cryptocurrency HEX incentivizes you to delay gratification and stick to your goals. HEX monetizes your time. As a time deposit, HEX pays higher interest rates the longer you commit. Longer pays better. Stake your HEX coins for a chosen duration, and once your stake matures, HEX pays you the compounded interest. The autonomous, decentralized HEX smart contract rewards those that complete their chosen time and punishes those that quit with penalties. HEX keeps score. Launched in December 2019 as a finished product, HEX is fully operational today. For a start, take a small amount and check back in a year how HEX is performing. You will be amazed. Any duration between 1 day to 15 years is possible. How long do you want to stake?
Okay, guys, so that's pretty much all I have for right now. Tune in for Maddie's stream. It's going to be 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I got to go to a dinner actually pretty soon here. But that's pretty much all we've got, right? We've got a lot of price pumpage. We've got the sacrifice lobby starting soon. And we've also got more streams, before the end of the day. So tune into Maddie's channel. Let me just link the video here. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a shorter stream. Happy Mother's Day to all the ladies out there and the moms out there. So that's going to be the stream here. We're just going to put it on YouTube real quick. And honestly, that's pretty much all I got, right? I got to go to dinner and then going to try and be on time for the stream we got later. So I'll see everyone at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Matty Allen's channel. And till next time.